Merry meet, plarners and fiber magicians. It's me, Opal Luna, crone, priestess of Minerva, and fiber magician, along with my friend Doris, wishing you a very happy Minerva's Day. Each year around this time, I like to rededicate my craft room as a temple to the goddess Minerva. And I thank you all for coming today and being part of this. As a temple, it's more than just a craft room. It's a clearinghouse for the crafts we do during our Grove presentations and rituals. If you are planning any of those, be sure to check with the temple first for supplies. Minerva may have just what you need. Also, never throw craft supplies away. The temple will take them and find a home. So Minerva is the Roman goddess of wisdom. Her domains include medicine, poetry, commerce, and handicrafts. She was in charge of so many things that Ovid called her the goddess of 1,000 works. Minerva was celebrated in a variety of festivals in ancient Rome. The most famous of one of these was the Quinquatrus. It went from March 19th to the 23rd. It ushered in the spring with song and merriment. It was common for the Romans to rededicate the temples at this time. No opportunity for a celebration was missed. On a day dedicated to Minerva, there would be stories and songs and poetry and crafting. This day will be just like that. Oh, and of course, we can't forget the food. We will feast later. This festival was of deepest importance to artisans, artists, musicians, poets, and craftsmen, as she was the patron goddess of crafting and the arts. It was the flute players guild that usually hosted the festivities on the first day. They called her Minerva Lucinia, the name that means nightingale, because she is said to have invented the flute. But it is said that despite her love for music, Minerva was embarrassed by how the instrument made her cheeks puff out when she played it. The vanity of goddesses, something the deities Venus and Juno noticed and mocked her for terribly. As a result, Minerva threw the instrument into a riverbed where it was later found by a satyr named Pan. That was the way it became in the hands of humans. The festival was 5 days long, and the first day was said to be the anniversary of Minerva's birth. So no blood was shed on that day. The next 4 days, the blood flowed freely in the gladiatorial games, but we just do the first day here. The only blood I've shed in crafting was that time I took up quilting for a while, but that's not, no. As the goddess of wisdom, Minerva covers a wide range of strategies. Running a household, a business, an empire takes strategy. That is why the Greek influence made her a goddess of war. In every other way, she already mirrored the Greek goddess Athena, but her reign began much earlier than that. Minerva sat in the holy triad of the Etruscans alongside Tenia and Uni, which later became Jupiter and Juno, and Minerva to the Romans. Together, they were considered the patrons of Rome, the brawn, the heart, and the brains. The Etruscan Minerva was part of this holy triad with Tenia and Uni long before Rome was established. But the Etruscans themselves found the goddess already thriving in that region. This ancient goddess was called Mineswa. which means she who measures. This origin can be seen in one of Minerva's other titles, Minerva Mensa, Minerva who measures time. Minerva continues to stand for wisdom and the act of creating things. It is for this reason that she is the patron goddess of fiber magicians. The Etruscan Italic goddess blended the attributes of being a patroness of household tasks, including arts and crafts, and also being the patroness of protection. Today, she joins in spring festivities by helping people prepare their lands for sowing and embracing the figurative lands of our hearts, and homes, and spirits with her positive energy. As the goddess of commerce, Minerva presided over trade, crafts, and economic activities, which at that time would very much include the harvest. In ancient times, this was a day to bless one's lands and borders. Gifts of corn, honey, and wine were given to the earth, and its spirits to keep the property safe and fertile throughout the year. In modern times, this equates to a Minerva-centered house blessing or craft room blessing. Her influence extended to artisans, merchants, and those engaged in business endeavors. I asked Minerva to bless my craft shows to sell all the things, and my workshops to give me the right words. Minerva Medica was a patron of doctors. Minerva Medica means Minerva of doctors. This was the name by which one of her primary temples was known. This epithet helped cement her position as the embodiment of knowledge and wisdom. Healers would do well to include Minerva in their pantheon, and if you are in need of a healer, there is no better deity on which to call. Minerva Castius is the patron of olive trees. This has to do with the story that Minerva and Athena have in common. As the story goes, in ancient time, each town had a special deity, a god that looked after them. Neptune, lord of the sea, was a very powerful god. He loved attention. He loved having towns build temples to worship him. He loved the gifts people brought him. Neptune was always on the lookout for towns that had not yet been claimed by a god. He wanted as many towns as possible to call his own. Although towns could only have one god to watch over them, gods could watch over as many towns as they chose. One day, Minerva, goddess of wisdom, and Neptune, lord of the sea, both claimed the same coastal village. Normally, the people in the village would have been thrilled to be selected by a god to watch over them, but two gods at once? A town could only have one guardian. They did not want to choose. They did not want to anger either god. Minerva, who was wise as well as beautiful, understood their worry. She suggested that both gods should give the town a gift. The townspeople could decide which gift was better. Neptune loved the idea. The townspeople, if possible, were even more nervous than before. Neptune tapped the side of the mountain, and water flowed out in the beautiful stream. Fresh water is so important. The people were sure Neptune had won. When they tasted the water, they tried to smile, but they had to spit the water out. It was salt water. Then Minerva waved her hand. An olive tree began to grow. Olives thrive in a salty soil. The people tasted the olives, and smiles broke out. The olives were delicious, and the olive tree would provide food, shelter, and oil for cooking. It was a magnificent gift indeed. But the coastal village would risk angering the lord of the sea, the mighty Neptune. Fortunately for the people, they did not have to choose. Neptune threw back his head and laughed his mighty roar. Yours is a far better gift than mine, my lovely niece. The village is yours. Whew, that was a close one. Minerva Armipotens is powerful in arms and the patron of war strategy. Here again, this connects her to the Greek goddess Athena. While her association with war and battle was perhaps not as overt as was the case of her Greek counterpart, Minerva did still play a part in strategic warfare and was revered by warriors for her wisdom and knowledge. By the time of the latter Republic period, Minerva had begun to overshadow Mars, where battle strategies and war were concerned. Minerva being part of the Capitoline triad, along with Jupiter and Juno, meant she was one of the protectors of the city of Rome. Minerva's symbols include the snake, the olive branch, the geranium, and most prominently, the owl. To this day, the owl is a symbol of wisdom and knowledge. We made Minerva's owl in our fiber magic classes. Let me show you how it's done. I'm going to change camera angles. There he is, Minerva's owl. Okay, I'm going to have this pattern on my website as a little gift for Minerva's Day, but I'll show you now just a little bit how to do it. You start with the eyes. See, they're just circles. And to do that, you make a slip stitch, chain 2, and put 6 single crochets into, the second chain from the hook. Okay? And that makes that little center pupil. You can do these in any colors that you want. See, there you go. Now to make the rest of the eye, you just go around it in white, putting 2 stitches in each stitch so that you have 12 stitches around. You make 2 of those and then leave a tail because you're going to sew those on top of your little owl body. Right? All right. Let's make the body. When you try this pattern, and I hope you do, make sure if you post it that you hashtag Fiber Magic so we can all share in it and see it. Okay. So now you chain 2, but you put 8 single crochets in the little circle. Don't worry, it'll fit. You just keep putting single crochets into that same stitch and you'll go all the way around. Let's see how many I got. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. And then after you slip stitch into the first one, see, then this little tail that's sticking out, you pull it and it snugs up the hole. Yeah, I don't bother with a, there. I don't bother with a magic circle. I think that chain 2 method is just as good. So for the second round, you're going to put 2 single crochets into each stitch around. We did these owls at Love and Light when I used to have fiber magic classes there before it closed. Those were so fun. I'd like to find a place where I could have fiber magic classes again. Although I do have classes online, it's just not the same. All right, so we're gonna go around, and then we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet again. Now here's where you start the shaping. See, now you got a circle, but you want kind of an oval shape, right? For your owl. So chain one and do 4 single crochets, and then put a half double crochet increase into the next 4 stitches. Half double crochet increase. So now this is going to make that top circle around, extend just a little bit farther, see? And that makes that oval shape on that end. Okay. Then down this side, you put 4 more single crochets. And you should have 4 stitches left, and I do, yay. And then you put 2 half double crochets in each of those. And that rounds out the bottom of your oval. I love geometry. Okay. So now you've turned your circle into an oval. Very nice. Now we're going to put some little ears on the top of that oval. So we'll make one end the top and the other the bottom. All right. Now, chain one and do 4 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then put a half double crochet increase. That's putting 2 in 1 stitch. And now put a double crochet, a picot. Picot is French for point. Chain 3 and then slip stitch into that first chain and put another double crochet, and you've made that pointy ear. See? And then another half double crochet increase. Now for the next 2 stitches, just do a single crochet. That makes his little head, the little indentation right here, right? And then you just do the same thing in reverse. Half double crochet increase. No, half double crochet increase. Double crochet, picot, double crochet, half double crochet increase. Oop, I changed colors. Then 4 half double crochets. Now, if you do this with stripy or variegated yarn, you're going to get a, stripy variegated owl, or you can choose to change colors each row if you want to. You make like a bullseye there now, or make his little belly one color and then the rest of them another color. That's up to you. That's where the artistry comes in. So now you've got this bottom, and what we're going to do to keep it nice and round is to increase, single, increase, single, half double crochets all the way around. Increase, single, increase, single. There you go. And then slip stitch into that first half double crochet, and you've got your owl shape. Okay. Easy peasy. You make 2 of those eyes, sew them down right below the ears, embroider on a beak, embroider on his little toes. These make very nice giveaways for a party. You could stick a lollipop through the little toes so it looks like he's sitting on the stick. That would be a very nice giveaway. Or you could put like a little olive branch. That would make him a real owl of Minerva. Maybe a sprig of rosemary or a healing owl to send healing to someone. Oh, there's no end to things you can do with a little owl like this. Now, if you make the 2 of them like this and you sew them together back to back, you can stuff it. See? Sew it all the way around back to back. You could stuff it or leave the top open so you'd have like a little owl pouch. I've put these on my elf belts, my little wild crafting belts, so that you have a little pouch. So if you're in the woods, walking in the woods, and you find a stone, you can put it in there. You can put that on your belt. A wonderful little owl of Minerva. Perfect. All right. Let's put the camera angle back. That was fun. We certainly carry on Minerva's spirit when we meet together to plarn. We turn plastic grocery sacks into plastic yarn or plarn, which will then be crocheted into plastic sleeping mats to be distributed to folks who are experiencing homelessness. This will add an extra moisture barrier between them and the ground. It cuts down on the bacterial growth in their blankets. Maybe a thin layer of comfort will be added. Does this solve the homeless problem we see in this country? No, it does not. But it's like the parable of the stranded starfish. Have you heard that one? It goes like this. One day, an old man was walking along the beach that was littered with thousands of starfish that had been washed ashore by a high tide. As he walked, he came upon a young boy who was eagerly throwing the starfish back into the ocean, one by one. Puzzled, the man looked at the boy and asked what he was doing. Without looking up from his task, the boy simply replied, "I'm saving these starfish, sir." The old man chuckled aloud. "Son, there are thousands of starfish and only one of you. What difference can you make?" The boy picked up a starfish, gently tossed it into the water, turned to the man and said, "I made a difference to that one." I've created a uplifting tune playlist that we can now listen to while we plarn. Let's make a difference.